Hi, Jim.
Hey Keith, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Do you need me to record on my end also?
No, I have it on mine.
You got it on yours. Good, good, good.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just I'm having a little audio. Let me get it a little better. Can you talk for me? I just want to
Hello, Jim.
yeah,
How
there we
are?
go. Yeah,
Oh,
I did something. I had hit something wrong. That's what I
oh,
do. I am so terrible at this shit, Keith, you wouldn't believe it.
I like interviews better when it's in a studio where they have an engineer guy do it, you know.
It's the podcast that I do, all I do is show up. I do my prep at home and I show up and there's an engineer and a producer and it makes life a lot easier.
Yeah,
Yes,
but
100%. How are
but
you?
I'm doing good, but I was
Good.
I was gonna say I feel ever since COVID, everyone is so used to doing interviews over Zoom, they're kind of
Yeah.
over going to a studio for
Yeah, auditions are now on, at home. Yeah, everything's at home. Everything
yeah.
the world has changed since COVID. That is 100% of a fact. Yes.
Do you like auditions on the computer or do you prefer them like
I,
in
I
person?
prefer in the room, but it's boy, you hear all sorts of answers on this. For me, I like walking in the room. I like doing a little BSing with the people in the room. I think it sets a nice tone. And then I also like getting direction. So because you get these auditions and uh, you make your choices like you do, and doesn't mean your choices are the right ones. Whereas if you go into a room, you have a casting director or a producer who's actually going to be on the show or a director, and they're saying, okay, great, now try this. And I
Right.
love that. I love that because, first of all, they're learning it also that you can take direction. That's important too. So, personally, for me, it's a good thing. But I have some friends who just love doing it at home. I mean, the perk of doing it at your own pace is that you can do 100 different takes
Yeah.
because it doesn't matter. It's just you, um, and you can set up your own lighting and all that kind of stuff. I hate all of that. I hate setting up my lighting. I hate doing the sound. I am not a tech guy. So for me, put me in the room. Let me give it my best shot. Give me some feedback, and we'll go from there. Yeah. So
Yeah. I think
that's how I work.
I agree with you. And Jim, you're talking to probably the worst actor in the world right now. But because I'm trained in stand up, so like the auditions that I go to, I like there because I can
Yeah.
kind of get a feel. But
Right. You
like
feel the room. Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
But I swear to God, I'm not lying. So my manager sent me on like a Zoom audition like I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago, right?
Yeah.
It was really bad, and he calls me. He's like, "I don't think I'm ever gonna have you do video auditions again."
Oh no. Oh, that really went bad.
Yeah, but I was like, but also I'm a comedian. I mean, I'd like to do acting, but that's not really my thing. You
Right.
know what I mean? So like,
Well, the thing is, and some people are born with just good natural acting instincts.
yeah,
I totally believe that. Other people can train to do it. But I always think, because I am in awe of stand-ups. I can't do it. I think it's terrifying. So what you guys do is something I could never do. And people
really,
think I am a stand-up. I don't know why. Like, oh, you do comedy, blah, blah, blah. Well, yeah, I'm a comic actor.
right?
I mean, that's different than going up with material and doing an 20-minute set or whatever it is. And recently I had to do I have this book coming out, so I had to do some promotion. And they had me go to some event in San Diego. And they said, we're going to have you do a 10-minute like funny thing at this nighttime event. It was called Night of Laughs or something. I go, what? Like what? And some of the other authors who were going to be there are stand-up people, and this is what they do for a living. I said,
Right,
you guys, I don't I don't have a hot, what is it, a solid 10 or whatever term you guys use.
right.
Um, so
Tight
what
10,
I
yeah.
what's the term?
Tight 10.
A tight 10. Yeah, I don't have a tight 10. I have like a pathetic four, and not even four. I don't even have four. I don't even know why I said four. No, but so basically what I ended up doing, and it turned out just fine. I ended up just telling stories from the book that were funny.
Right.
So I just related those stories because, but again, I've admired stand-ups. 1,000 years ago, literally 1,000 years ago, there was a show called oh gosh, it was hosted by Ed McMahon, Star Search.
Star Search, yeah.
And yeah, and they had a comedy category, and a buddy of mine convinced me to audition for the comic category. Stand-up comedy was one of the categories. And I think Rosie O'Donnell, that's how she got her start. Like it was a big thing in the day. It was probably like in that time, it was like The Voice now, or what's the singing one? Oh gosh, with Simon Cowell and
The
all the
Matt, oh, there's America's Got Talent, The Masked
talented
Singer.
and what's the with Ryan Seacrest? What the hell's
Oh,
that big thing?
America Idol or Americans.
American Idol.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So in the time it was probably like that. So anyway, and my buddy said, "No, we'll write material together." Blah blah blah. So we did do that, and I actually won he had to work and lift different levels, and I won the Chicago level of something, and then it was going to go on to the next level, and then if you won the next level, I think you might have got onto the show. I don't know exactly,
yeah.
but I realized I'm like, what am I doing? I'm ready to crap my pants every time I'm going. This is not what I want to do. So I did not continue with that. It was
But
terrifying.
but do you think people also assume that you do stand up because because you had an improv group, right? Called White Noise.
Yeah,
So
but that's totally different
no, it
from
is. But do you think
yeah.
people assume that because
It could be, yes. And most of the stuff I've done has been in the comedy world,
uh,
whether it's, the TV shows I've done, some of the films I've done. And so I do get where they're coming from. And then, I am just by nature, I'm a gregarious kind of guy. And I love to laugh. And so I generally joke around a lot. And
uh,
so I think because of that, they also think so. But yeah, I am not. I am not. I bow down to people like you because God bless you.
well,
God bless you.
I was very lucky because I toured with my heroes. So like that's how I started. And now all my heroes are dead. So like I'm
Wait,
kind
wait, wait.
of
Who did you tour with? Who was your hero?
I my best friend was Norm Macdonald.
Oh, I worked with
I
Norm.
know you did a show, and
Yes.
you had the funniest joke because I think I don't remember word for word what it was, but you were adopting a boy,
Yeah.
and he was saying, "What if I came home and had sex with a hooker and I paid her with your money or something?" And then I remember you said, "Well, as long as you reimburse me, it's all good."
I don't even remember that. That
Yeah,
is so funny.
but I just thought that was just such a perfect joke. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
that's great. How did you know Norm? How did he become your comedy icon?
I just stalked him and then we became friends.
There you go. There's
Like,
stalking is good. Sure.
yeah, people don't realize, but stalking does
It can
work.
really lead to good friendships. Yeah. So you must have been in the loop that he was so sick.
I was one of the few that knew he had cancer, but
Yeah.
he kind of lied to me because he said he was getting it better.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Like
Yeah.
I don't know anything about cancer, like the different forms. So
Yeah. I mean, there's like so many of them. And as believe me, when you get older, as I am now, you know lots of people who have
yeah,
had lots of different cancers. It's just the nature of the beast. Thankfully, I think, we're certainly better off now than we were 50 years ago with certain cancers.
yeah,
And people can get through them. It's all just still very scary. And, and I don't mean to speak for Norm because I have no idea what his situation was, but we're in a business where, if the word, so say the word had gotten out that he was really sick, then maybe people are afraid to, book him and hire him. And I don't know. I could see why he might want to keep it quiet. And
yeah,
plus, people have private lives. We're allowed to have private lives. I try to keep my personal life as quiet as I can. It's not 100% easy to do because, interviews and everything. But yeah, I could see if he was just trying to be like, and also you don't want to worry other people either, your friends and family. So there's a lot that goes into that, I think. Again, as I've gotten older, I've known so many people that have been through treatment and some sadly didn't make it. But I will say, now that I have never really thought about the numbers, but I would say for most of the people I know who have dealt with it, they've come out on the better side of it, which
oh,
is a testament to science and research and all that kind of stuff. Even my sister had lung cancer. She's a non-smoker, and uh, the way the medical field works, her regular doctor said you need to get your affairs in order, which is a terrible thing. I mean, to just hear that's terrible. Her
But
and her
see,
husband are
I heard when you said that, wait, I could have an affair?
yeah, and do it in orderly fashion. Yes. Yeah, that's not what she heard. And then by the time she meets with her oncologist, he's like, "Oh, I think you'll be okay." So
Yeah.
it's like, I don't know. It's all crazy out there. And thankfully she's doing great. That was many years ago and she's doing just fine. But yeah, it is yeah, I could see where he was. I could see trying to keep things quiet about certain things. I don't blame
Yeah.
him. But talk about a loss, such a big loss at such a young age.
Yeah.
That's the heartbreaker.
Now, I wanted to ask you, was he nice to you when you did a show? Because,
No,
okay.
no. He said I couldn't look at him. I
Oh,
wasn't
really?
allowed to look at him. I had to orally pleasure him twice a day.
What?
Yes, I thought that was odd too. But hey, I was new in showbiz. I did what they told me to do. So I had to do that twice. Yeah, twice a day. I was there for 5 days. So yes, 10 times I had to blow Norm. And it was wild. I will
Yeah.
say that. No, it was a fun week. I remember because also on the show was Lori Metcalf,
Yeah.
and
She's great. Yeah.
she's so great. And Ian Gomez, who was on it, who was also a Chicago guy, so I knew Ian. And it's always nice to show up on set when you know somebody.
Yeah.
And I believe that week, Artie Lang was there, and I was a big fan of Artie's. And he could not have been more kind. It was lovely. I have to say, though. I mean, you have time to hear an embarrassing story that happened that week, and it wasn't to me, it was to
Right.
somebody else.
Of
But
course.
so the way it works, you get cast, you audition, you get cast. And this is, before my Parks days where, you know, because of Parks, thank God the world changed. And now a lot of times I just get offers and, but I still audition and I'm happy to audition and whatever. But believe me, I was auditioning for everything back then. And
Yeah.
so I booked this job, for the Norm Show. Great. Um, get there day one. We do a table read. That's where everybody sits around, reads the script out loud. And it was me, and I think there were two other guest actors. I could be wrong. There was a woman playing my wife. It could have been three, or it could have been even more than that. But anyway, it doesn't matter. So I have a fun day, and it's it's a little nerve wracking. It's always scary the first day on a new set, but it was great. Everybody was kind and nice, and Norm was great. So then the next day, get there bright and early, and we're doing the plan. I think is another table read, and then we're gonna start rehearsing. And there was a new guy there sitting at the table, and everyone's got their little bagel or whatever the hell they got from Crafty, and everyone's chatting and whatever. And I'm like, oh, what part are you playing? Because I thought, well, maybe they've written in a new role.
Right.
Well, it turned out he was. Oh, sorry about that phone. Sorry about that phone. Uh, he was. Can you hear it or can you not hear it?
No, no. If you need
Oh,
to
good.
take
I didn't know if
it,
I should stop because I have a phone going on back here.
no, if you need to take it, I could pause it.
No, 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 no. There's
Oh.
like 3 or 4 different lines in this house. I don't understand. When things are ringing, I don't even know what's happening. But anyway, so right, he said no, and he said the role he's playing. I'm thinking, oh, ouch! They replaced the guy from yesterday because
Right.
that happens. We get into rehearsal and they're not happy with what the person's doing. Well, about 5 minutes later, here comes the other guy
Oh my
who
God.
has been replaced. And he sits down with his bagel and he's like, hey, morning. And we're all like, morning. Like, I don't know what's happening. So now I'm thinking, well, maybe they put him in a different role. Like, I have no idea. And, I got zero power it's to do anything. So we're all like sitting there and chatting. No one knows what's going on. And then somebody comes up and whispers in his ear and he goes, what? And they whisper something else, and he gets up and she goes, oh, grab your stuff. Well, what happened was
Norm
nobody ever
fired him.
contacted him to tell him he was fired. Nobody got a hold of the poor guy.
Yeah.
So it was awful. It was awful. And believe me, people get fired all the time because when you do the audition and then you show up to the table read, the old joke is with actors, never show up to the table read if you don't have to,
Right.
because that's when you lose your job. Because now all of a sudden, so many other people have their input on what they think this role should be rather than just the producer who hired you. So, but I felt terrible for the guy. Yeah. But so that's how my Norm experience began. But it was a great week.
So I don't know this because I didn't know Norm back then, but I know how Norm was. if it's the same Norm that I know, I guarantee you Norm forgot to tell him he fired him or
Is that
something.
what
It had to be
happened?
because when we did clubs and stuff, Norm would sometimes fire the MC because he didn't think it was funny or whatever.
Yeah.
And then like the MC, I remember the MC came back. He's like, "Oh, I thought I told you not to come back."
Well, I can also tell you this, that now that I'm thinking about it, one of the days we were there, I believe it was the camera block day. I could be wrong about the days, but so say we had let's just say we had a 10 o'clock call. So we're all there in camera block. It's when the whole crew's going to be there because everyone's got to see how it's going to shoot the next day. And, hair and makeup, everybody's there. And Norm's not there, and Norm's not there, and Norm's not there, and Norm's not there. And hours go by, and I'm like, what? I don't know what's going on. I'm in no position to ask. I just keep told, okay, we'll go when he gets here. So all of a sudden the stage door opens and Norm walks in with some guy. I don't remember who it was. And somebody went up to him and said, "Where have you been?" Because I think he was 3 to 4 hours late.
Right.
And he goes, "Oh, I was picking up my friend from the airport." Yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah, let's go. And as if just that's what it was. That was his schedule that day.
Jim, I have 100 of these stories.
I'll bet you do. Yes. Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
He just walked in, he had gone to the airport. Okay. And then we finished the day.
That wasn't true either. He was either gambling or something.
Oh, sure, of course.
But
recently I was watching reruns. I like to watch poker on television.
Yeah.
Like the World Poker Tournament or the WPT or whatever it is. And Norm was hosting it.
Yeah.
I didn't know he had done that.
Yeah, he was also a professional poker player.
I've seen him play, but I never knew that because normally it's the Van Dyke guy with that other, I forget people's names, but so it was like, and so they're just showing the poker plays, but I'm hearing this voice he's coming on the river. He's got a pair of aces, and they that can only be Norm Macdonald. And then they finally cut, and there's Norm Macdonald. Yeah. And that was recently. So it was obviously an old show.
I'll do one more story and then we'll move on to the other questions. But I did South Point with him once, and he was like playing poker, and that I went on stage, right? And then they're like, "We can't find Norm." I was like, "Oh, he's probably playing poker. I'll go get him." So I was like, "Hey, Norm, you're about to go up, the MCs." And then Norm's just like, "Yeah, you go again. I'm in the middle of," and I'm like, "What?
Go again?"
Yeah, he's like, "Just do another 20." And I was like, "What?" He's like, "I'm gonna make more money with this hand than I am at the fucking gig." Like, so like, it was just doing that, and like, dude, it was so stressful because I have an hour now, but at the time I only had 20 minutes.
Of course, yes.
So like, I had to go up again. I did the exact same stuff. It was one of the worst shows ever because everyone's like thinking I'm a moron or whatever.
You just did the same shit? Oh my God.
I had to. I didn't have anything.
That's so funny. That is hysterical. And then did he finally come and do his set?
It took a while.
It took a while. Yeah.
But
I think Norm, he worked on his own time frame.
No, that's another thing. He didn't really care about anyone else's time. He just cared about his own.
Right.
Yeah.
But, that's crazy.
I wanted to ask you a crazy question because I went to go to the fast food line today, and it was one of those lines that had every type of fast food thing. And this has nothing to do with you, but I just want to know if I'm crazy or not. But there's so much...
Let me answer the answer yes, and I haven't even heard the question, but yes, you are crazy.
Okay, but like they have like a whole menu of fast food stuff, and then I was just thinking of the menu. I was thinking maybe we as a society just don't have enough food because there's only 20 things on that menu. You know what I mean? Like, am I crazy for thinking this? Because it's like, who eats all these things?
Yeah, I want less options. It's the problem with options are their options. And I am someone every time. So say I'm dead set on something. Like, okay, I'm in that same line with you, and I say, "Oh, I'm going to get the Chipotle wrap." Okay, like I'm just dead set, and then you go, "Oh, that sounds good," but wow, that smash burger looks delicious.
Yeah.
My brain immediately goes, oh God, that smash burger does look delicious. And then if the guy next to me goes, oh, that pancake sandwich looks interesting, then I want the pancake sandwich. Yes,
It's
no,
so crazy.
it's crazy. It's too much. It's way, way, way too much. Yeah.
All right, cool. I just wanted to make sure it
No,
wasn't
you're
just
not
a
crazy. It's all valid.
it wasn't a Keith Reza thing. Okay, okay. But speaking of crazy, I wanted to ask you, what's the craziest cameo you've ever gotten? Because I know you're on Cameo.
Yeah. Oh my God, dude. I've done someone just told me because I don't apparently you can they have this app and I can see all this stuff and I never do. And somebody told me I've done 3,500 cameos.
Whoa.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And here's the thing I was saying about my cameos. And uh this is just me, and I'm not knocking others because people can do whatever the hell they want. It's their call.
Right.
But my cameos are a little pricey. And I feel like because they're, because some people do cameos for $10 or $15. I mean, it's no secret mine are $175.
Oh, yeah.
So, and that, I think that's a lot of money to ask somebody to give you for a 30-second happy birthday. So my cameos are never, ever less than 8.5 minutes. They're always 8 to 10 minutes per. So now think about this. I've done 3,500 of them.
Wow.
So I don't have a calculator here, and God knows I'm too stupid to do that math.
Yeah.
But that is a lot of time. That is a lot of time put into these cameos. But I really feel, and again, people can do their 30-second ones. Whatever. If people are happy with the product, that's all that really matters. If they're thrilled to get a shout out from their favorite, actor or comedian or influencer, whatever they're looking for, that's great. I just feel because I'm on the higher end money wise that I should give them more than just a hello.
Yeah, more bang for their buck.
More bang for their buck. Yeah, yeah. And I think I generally, my feedback is, I think I have 5 stars out of 5 or whatever. So generally I think people are thrilled. And I do a little Jerry bit at the beginning and then I talk about, anyway. So, but cameos, but the craziest one, well, there's some you just can't do. Right. Because some of them just want to hear me say terrible things. So some of them just want to hear, Jerry, oh, would you say, hey, Jerry, hey, Gail, can I eat your muff? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to say that on a cameo. Right. I'm just not going to do it. Some want me to say terrible things about the other actors. I think just for clickbait for later to make it look like I would ever really say something like that. I don't really understand all that. And some, but what I will do, and people are always, they get a kick out of this when they ask me, because I think sometimes they think I won't do it. But my sense of humor is very blue. Like I go dark. I like it. If there's a dick joke to be had, I'm the one saying it. If there's low hanging fruit, I am the one cutting it off. Like it's just who I am.
It's easier to eat too.
It's easier to eat. Thank you. Exactly. So no, I am a big fan of, I go dirty with that. So a lot of times people request, and I think they think, oh, he'll never do this. Whether it's a joke they want me to tell their wife or whatever. And I'm in, baby. Yeah. I am in with the dirty. I got no problem. But yeah, I've gotten some crazy requests, and I've also gotten requests to marry people all over the world, because there was an episode of Parks where I married Ben and Leslie, and it's crazy what goes on out there. It's crazy.
So you actually might have married real people too.
I have in real life, because I did do that online thing for $45. I became a minister.
Oh my God.
Actually, I did the fancy part. You could do it for free, but for $45, you get this like packet. They send you some crap that probably cost them 50 cents. And I get it, and then I have it. But I've only married family and friends, children of friends. I've been offered, literally Australia, Dubai. People have offered, we'll fly you out, blah, blah, blah. Would you? I'm just not in that business. I'm just not that guy. Yeah.
Well, if I ever get married, I hope you'll marry me.
Yeah. Well, we'll take a look at your bank account. We'll see if you can handle it or not. Yeah. Yeah.
It's pretty low, Jim.
Okay.
I have a stand up.
Yeah. Good luck with that. Good luck with that wedding then, my friend.
But I wanted to ask you about this movie Ed
Ah, how dare you? How
because
dare you bring that up?
well no I bring it up for a purpose because it was your first movie, and
Yes.
when you're a struggling actor, like you get a first movie regardless, you know, what type of movie it is, you take it. So I wanted to know,
Yes.
like how was that? Like, did you have anxiety when you were filming that? Like, oh my God, this is my first one, or like how do you do that?
It was terrifying. And you're right. In those days, like now, they'll send me a script and I'll take a look at it and I'll go, oh, I don't know, or this or that, or, oh, I love this, or I don't know about if this would be right for me. You kind of talk with your team and you come up with whether you want to do something. In those days, it didn't matter what the hell the script
Yeah.
was. If they wanted to cast me, I was in. And it was, yeah, you were right. It was my first feature, and it starred Matt LeBlanc, who was, Friends had blown up.
Yeah.
So they were giving all of those guys movies on their hiatuses. And this was Matt's movie. And excuse me, I'm going to cough. I'm going to put it on mute for. And we're back.
All right.
But anyway, it was Matt's movie, and he was a baseball player, and he has a girlfriend, and the team he's going on, the other player is going to be a monkey. I mean, just absolutely ridiculous. But the monkey's amazing at baseball, and at first he's against it, but then they become friends. Well, I'm the announcer of the local baseball team, who also happens to be the uncle or brother or uncle of the girlfriend. To be honest, now I don't even remember. I think uncle, but I could be wrong. But anyway, so the premise is absolutely ridiculous. It's a
Right.
baseball playing monkey. But again, it's Matt LeBlanc. So they built a stadium in Santa Clarita. Now, for those who don't know, Santa Clarita is in California, and it's in the desert, and it is hot as hell. And Keith, when I tell you they built the stadium, I'm not talking about they, put like some plywood up and made some stands. I'm telling you they built a baseball stadium.
Just for this
They
movie.
just for this movie. It was torn down 2 weeks after we wrapped. They built it for this film. And so, yeah, so I get the gig. It was a bunch of auditions to get to the gig. And at that point, my agents were very much like, Jim, because it was my first. I had moved to LA in the fall of '94. I was just here 30 years as of a couple of weeks ago. And so this was in the spring. It was around pilot season of '95.
Yeah.
And through some miracle, I booked this film and a pilot, TV pilot, within 24 hours of each other, which at the time I thought, oh my God, I should have been here forever. This is the greatest place. And then believe me, time goes on and you go, oh no, that was just a fluke.
Right.
That's not how it normally works. But at the time, my agents were like, Jim, this is great. You're getting a second callback. They're probably going to go with a bigger name, but this is wonderful. You're just starting out. You're getting to know these casting directors. Well, the next thing you know, I get the call that I did book it. And like, holy crap. And as any actor will tell you, the whole excitement is the first 5 minutes of any
Right.
booking. You get the phone, like Aziz would always say, Aziz Ansari will say, yeah, the most exciting thing about a project is the announcement on deadline. After that, the odds are it's never even going to happen half the
Right.
time. And then you got to get the work done. But and the same with the booking for an actor. So you get the booking, you're like, oh my God, and you're calling people, like I'm calling my family. I got my first movie. Oh my God, I can't believe it, blah, blah, blah. And then you get off that excitement high and you realize, oh shit, I got to do this now. And then it becomes terrifying, absolutely
Yeah.
terrifying. I had never been on a movie set other than like 1,000 years. Years earlier, I had done stand-in work on Michael J. Fox did a movie with Joan Jett. I can't think of the name of it.
Oh.
But we're talking many, many years ago in Chicago, and I did a day of stand-in, and that was just a random thing. I have very few memories of it, but so this is all new to me. So no, I was terrified. And here's what I'll say: it's a terrible movie. That being said,
Well,
I had a
I
great
didn't want
time.
to say that, but
I had a great time, and I loved being there. After I got over the initial nervousness, Matt LeBlanc is a lovely human being. He's fun. He's funny. He seems so appreciative and grateful that there was this movie they were giving him. There was no, actory bullshit going on.
yeah.
There were other really good actors in it. And then it turns out many years later, I did an episode on the final season of Friends. And when I got there, he's like, "What are you doing here?" And, blah, blah, blah. Hello, hello, hello. And he goes, "Oh, let me introduce you to everybody." And he introduced me to the other cast members as Jim was in my shitty movie. So because they all had them, because
Oh yeah,
everybody was throwing everything at these guys. And
yeah,
so, everyone's got their shitty movies, and that was his. And but again, and also, as terrible as it was, nobody was blaming me for it. I'm
exactly.
just the guy playing the announcer, the uncle of the girl or the brother, whatever the hell I was to the girl.
Yeah.
So overall, it was a really amazing experience. But that movie, and I will tell you that recently I was at a signing for something, where you go and meet and greet people, and somebody said, and I'd like to think he was joking, but I got to tell you, I don't think he was.
Right.
He says he watches it every day.
Oh
He
my
watches the
gosh.
movie Ed every day.
Wow. He might be serious. But
He could be a serial killer.
but what I'm saying is like I don't know because I was a kid when that came out, so I don't remember like the purposes of good or bad movies or whatever. But
Yeah.
now that you're an adult, you kind of but like a lot of people actually nowadays enjoy bad movies. Like
Oh yeah, they
it's
absolutely, it's a
kind of
whole
like their
thing.
thing. Like yeah.
Absolutely. And I will tell you another cool thing about it, and this is just a family thing that amongst my family, my nieces who are now, my gosh, the one turned 31, the one turned 30 in the last month. It was the first movie they ever saw at the
Oh my
theater.
god.
And so the first movie they ever saw, their uncle was in. And that's kind of a like a fun little thing.
That's kind
So
of
yeah,
cool.
it's got its thing. But yes, no, there's people who love watching terrible movies. I was one of them when I was in Chicago. My white noise crowd, the theater, the improv company we had, more of a sketch comedy company. I shouldn't say improv. We started as improv, but it turned into sketch. But anyway, we would do movie nights where we would just watch and mock everything about it, laugh our asses off. There might have been booze involved.
Right.
It might have been a few drinks involved, but I love a night like that. Put on a shitty movie, drink and laugh. I'm on board.
Yeah, I think it's one of the funnest things. It's also
Yeah.
fun, like watching old movies that were good back then, but now you watch and they're like, it's actually pretty terrible. Like the
Oh, and
X.
some are so racist and like
Oh my
you're like,
god.
what did they just say? You can't say that. But of course, in their behalf, in the day you could.
Yeah.
It's just what it was.
Like the example I was going to give was The Exorcist. That's supposed to be the scariest movie of all time.
Yes.
I watched it the other day. It's more like a comedy.
Ah.
Like,
You want to hear something crazy?
yeah.
I'm a dog person, and one of my dogs, my boy Chase, I got from Linda Blair.
Oh
Linda
my god.
Blair has an organization. It's called the Linda Blair World Heart Foundation. And she rescues dogs that are hard to place. So your pity mixes, your Dobermans, those kind of dogs. And I went and I've had my Chasey now for, oh gosh, I'm gonna say 7 years, and I got him from Linda Blair. Yeah,
That's awesome.
her whole world now is rescuing dogs. But yeah, you're right. Watch that movie now. Come on.
It's like, yeah, but no, I think that's cool though that you got your dogs from another famous person.
Yes. Well, and it was. I don't think she knew who the hell I was, and
Right.
so, but as the day went on, because there was this one dog, and it turned out to be Chase, that she said somebody already was taking. And I was really disappointed because I just fell in love with him so fast and he was wonderful and blah, blah, blah. And then as I'm looking around and meeting the other dogs, I think somebody whispered in her ear, that's Jim O'Hare, the guy from Parks and Recreation, blah, blah, because all of a sudden he was available.
Ah,
You know what I mean? But I think he was special to her and she didn't want him going to just anybody. And I
yeah.
don't know I don't know, that could be a story I've totally made up, but that was my impression of what went down.
I think
Uh,
if you made it up, you would have said that's Jim O'Hare from Ed.
right. Yes. And she would have been like, holy shit. Oh my God. And I thought when Clooney was here, that was exciting. Wow. And also, by the way, in the movie Ed, the monkey sits on a couch and farts, and it bounces him off the couch when he farts.
Oh my gosh.
That's
Oh,
what goes on in the movie Ed.
wow.
Yes.
I
Yeah,
can't wait to
good
watch it
times.
again. Yeah.
Yeah. That being said, I have bounced myself off my own couch on a good fart. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do?
Uh, I wanted to ask you because you did an episode of Dick Van Dyke's show. I don't remember what it was called, but
Diagnosis Murder.
yes, Diagnosis Murder. And I wanted to ask you about that show because like that show, like it's kind of odd to have Dick Van Dyke on a murder show who's playing a doctor. You know what
It
I
really
mean?
is.
Like I was like, how
And
is
I'll tell
that?
you this, it was I was raised with television. I was raised on sitcoms. I loved the Dick Van Dyke Show, the Mary Tyler Moore Show, Archie Bunker, All in the Family, the Jeffersons, MASH, the Carol Burnett Show. Like those were that is that's my thing. So this role on Diagnosis Murder was very dramatic. And at that point, it was still early in my career, but it was early in my LA career, I should say, because I've been doing this as, as an actor way before I came to LA. But so I loved getting the opportunity because I love when I get to do some dramatic stuff. I don't get the opportunity a lot because you get labeled. Jim's the funny fat neighbor or wacky husband or which is fine. It's paid my bills for a lot of years and I love doing comedy, so I don't bitch about it, but I love when I get to sink my teeth into something dramatic.
Right.
And so this audition comes in and it was like, wow, because this is for a serial killer. And they wanted to cast somebody who kind of you would never in a million years think he was the bad guy.
Right.
So and I've been told, I'm older now, but in my younger days, oh, he's got a cherubic face and that Irish look, kind of whatever, what are you gonna do? And so anyway, but when I got the booking on this, I lost my shit because Dick Van Dyke was such a personal idol to me,
Yeah.
like a hero in many ways, a comedic hero. So my first day, I'll never forget it. We were shooting at a home in Malibu, and two things happened that stick in my mind forever and ever and ever. One was when I met him, they introduced me, and then he couldn't have been lovelier and whatever. And I had seen him a couple days earlier because I went for a wardrobe fitting for my episode, and they were shooting the previous episode. And somebody said, "Oh, there's Dick Van Dyke. If you want to go, you can watch them shoot some scenes." And I did. So I'd seen him from afar, but I hadn't met him yet. So I
Right.
meet him, and he was, of course, so gracious and lovely. And then I just kind of stepped away because I didn't want to be bothersome. And I'm sitting in my chair, and then I thought we were about to do our first scene, and I thought I just got to get this out because I'm so wrapped up and I'm so nervous that he's here and I'm here and everything. So I walked up to him and I said, "Mr. Van Dyke, I'm so sorry to do this, but I just have to tell you, you have made such an impact on my, career and on my love of television and everything like that." And he goes, "Jim, I've seen your work. You're the real deal. I'm just an entertainer." I mean,
Oh
he
my God.
immediately put it on me. Like, what a lovely,
What the
lovely man.
sweet
It
thing.
was so sweet. Like,
So
even
he
thinking
has
about it.
so he did watch Ed.
He did watch Ed.
Oh
Yes,
my
yes, yes.
God.
No, I think he was involved in casting, and I think he saw, what I had brought to the audition. So then the other great thing that happened, I mean, everything about that episode was amazing. I loved working with him and Jack Klugman. Jack
Yeah.
Klugman kills me. He shoots me in an elevator at the end of the film, at the end of the. So it was all great.
Oh.
But we shot a scene where Dick Van Dyke realizes I'm the killer. Spoiler alert, people. Though on the other hand, it's about 30 years
30
old.
years too late.
Yeah, exactly. Spoiler alert. And he finds out I'm the killer, and he comes to my house where I'm barbecuing, and my wife's in the house with the kids and whatever. And he's looking at me, and he lets me know that he knows I've done it, but he's got no proof, and I know that.
Right.
And so he says, "But what about your family?" And whatever my reaction was, I said something like, "Oh, I'd love to do it to my wife," but something like that. And then later, one of the producers said to me, "You created a look on Dick's face we have never seen." I go, "Oh my God, I assumed I screwed up, like, 'cause
Right.
that's the story of my life. I just assume I'm screwing up." They said, "No, he looked so, it was a mix between disgust and fear." He goes, "It was beautiful." I said, "Yay! I
Oh.
made Dick Van Dyke have a new look on his face." But there were times in the dressing room he'd be singing songs from Mary Poppins. I mean, it was a gift. That episode was a gift that I got to work with him. And the fact that he is still out there doing his thing is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I love it.
He's such a legend. I mean,
He's a
like
legend. A
like
legend and a
a
wonderful
literal,
person.
yeah, he's like a literal legend that people, because I think people only know him from Mary Poppins, but they don't really know what he's done for comedy. You know what
Well,
I
I
mean?
mean, if you're my age, you know Dick Van Dyke, or certainly even people older than me. I mean, Dick Van
But
Dyke,
my
him and Mary
my
Tyler,
generation, I
your,
mean,
I was going to say your
yeah,
generation. And listen, tell you, recent, I got to another icon. I got to work with was Carol Burnett, and she said, yeah. I mean, I'm Better Call Saul, and
yeah,
she said, she goes, yeah, if the people under 40, they don't really know who I am. And I said, Carol, that makes no sense to me. How does not everybody in the world not watch your YouTube videos like I do? You know,
right.
the things you've done. But it is true. Like, how old are you, Keith?
I just turned 37.
Yeah. Like, would you know Carol Burnett? Like, would you?
Yeah, I've tried to get her on this show.
So
Like,
you do know Carol.
yeah,
Good. She's
but
amazing. I have pictures with her, and when people see the picture, they go, "It looks like your face is going to explode." I'm smiling so hard. I just couldn't help it. I couldn't believe I was there with her, and I didn't know she was going to be there because they had used a fake name on the call sheet for her, and so it was. Yeah, it was amazing. But yeah, so yeah, I got to work with Dick Van Dyke on Diagnosis Murder, and it was an odd show. And I had heard, and this is a rumor, strictly rumor, take it for what it's worth,
uh,
but he had done the show for many years and he was kind of ready to wrap it up. But his son was also on the show. His son played one of the major detectives, one of the cops, and he kept it going because his son wanted to keep doing it. And
yeah.
I thought, just a lovely man, just
What
a
a
lovely man.
what a great dad too. You
Yeah,
know what
what
I
a
mean?
great dad. Yeah,
Like, yeah. But I tried to get like because I tried to get Dick Van Dyke on this like 5 or 6 years ago. And the thing is I have a form of autism called Asperger syndrome. So
yeah,
like
I know people. Yeah,
yeah, so like I don't I like I'm very like to handle someone like me, it's just to be blunt. If the answer is no, just say no, my feelings won't
right,
get hurt. I get
right.
it. But ignorance gives me major anxiety, right?
Uh,
So so I wrote Dick Van Dyke's manager, right? I sent like 3 or 4 follow-ups. So then I was like, all right, I'll just call. So I called and he's like, yeah, I got it, but he's 100 and he's old. He doesn't really do podcasts and stuff. I was like, oh, okay, at least I know. He's like, yeah.
yeah, now you know.
So I hang up, and then 2 years later, Mary Poppins 2 comes out, and he's dancing on a desk. I'm, I'm like, I don't get this business.
Yeah, you're picturing when he says he's super old. You're like, oh, he's probably in a wheelchair and he just sits and
Yeah.
watches television all day, and then he's dancing. Yeah, that's hysterical.
I'm just like, but
But I
yeah.
gotta say, your Asperger's, because I know other people who deal with that. They don't get sarcasm. You seem to understand sarcasm.
No, I don't. I think
Really?
no,
I
I
feel
think
like I've been a little sarcastic and you've got me.
no, I feel like you've just been honest. Have you been sarcastic?
Well, here, in my funny little ways.
Oh, I thought that was just you.
Well, it could be. Maybe it is just me.
Yeah. I mean,
Maybe
I'm so confused, Jim.
no,
Wait,
but that's
oh, okay.
so that is one of your things. Sarcasm goes past you.
Yeah, I just see either black or white, and also like when I look at people in the eyes, like I'm looking at you right now, I can't tell you what color your eyes are. I just see a big question mark. So like I really don't know your facial expressions at all.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
So if I do this,
I mean you're making it, but like I don't
an
know.
extreme face. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I don't know
And see, I
like
was being sarcastic.
really. Oh, but like, if I were to look at you, I could never tell if you're like that face. I could tell like but like I could never tell if you're serious, sad, mad, or like
Wow. Wow.
yeah,
That's a challenge.
it is yeah.
Yeah, good for
But
Are
stand
there
up
meds for
comedy,
that, or is it just, I mean, is there therapy for that, or what do you do?
I went to a lot of speech therapy because I was very nonverbal, and stand
Yeah.
up comedy has saved my life because that has kind of given me a out. Like I feel comfortable talking to you because I feel I'm also a celebrity. You know what I mean? So like
Right.
I feel we're on the same path. So even though you're huge, I'm bad, but
Oh.
I'm still on the same. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
So
that what a hurdle to be nonverbal, or leaning toward nonverbal, and then being a stand-up where it's nothing but verbal.
yeah,
It's all verbal. I mean,
yeah,
without your voice, you got nothing with
yeah,
stand-up.
yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So, like I said, speech therapy, stand up comedy, Norm Macdonald, these are all things that saved my life.
That's wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I wanted to ask you, since you brought up about Better Call Saul, because I think
Yeah.
that's the best show ever, and you had the sweet spot, you know,
Literally.
literally, and then the like the cinnamon rolls and stuff. Were you sick of the eating those cinnamon rolls, or like how was that?
Yeah, that was a whole experience because they were Michelle, I think it's Michelle McLaren, I believe was the director who had directed a bunch of a bunch of the Better Call Sauls, but she also did oh my God, what's the precursor?
I don't know.
Breaking Bad. What am I
Breaking
thinking?
Bad. Oh,
Breaking
right.
Bad, of
Oh, yeah,
course.
yeah.
So she had, so she was involved with all the series. And so I get the part, and they were very specific how they wanted this Cinnabon to be eaten. And to the point where she called me. Like I've had that happen before where a director wants to talk to you before you start working, just to set the tone and what they're thinking, what you're thinking. I actually love it. I just think it's so because a lot of times, most times you meet on set
Right.
because in the casting process, especially nowadays, since you're cast over a tape, you don't meet anybody. And then you just show up and there you are and you're all working together. So I love a little meet and greet over the phone or however you do it ahead of time. So she wanted to get a hold of me, but we shot that in New Mexico. So I was still in LA. And she called and she was, telling me about the episode and everything. And she said, Jim, we're going to be really specific about this Cinnabon. And I thought, okay. Oh man, Keith, I didn't know what she meant by specific.
Right.
He had, I mean, they sent me Cinnabons at home to practice
Oh my
cutting the
God.
Cinnabons to my home in LA. This is how specific they wanted to be. And she told me what she was thinking. I was, writing it all down. I was rehearsing in my home with Cinnabons, which believe me, not the worst thing to have to do in the world.
Right.
And then when I got there, the first day I get there, they sent me for you meet with hair and makeup and wardrobe to prep everything. They have all your sizes and stuff, but you got to try this stuff on to make sure you'll be good to go when you start shooting. And they said, oh, you want to we're going to take you to set, you can meet Michelle. And I did. And that's the first day I met Carol Burnett. And then Michelle said, Jim, we set up a station over there, we're going to have you practice some more with the Cinnabons. I mean, this was a whole fucking thing. Like, wow. So I do it, and then I'm getting myself nervous. Like, what is going on? Like, this is a lot of practice to cut a Cinnabon. Like, I'm an adult. I know how to eat. Take a look
Right.
at me. I know how to eat. But anyway, they had their way. They wanted it done. And I am so proud when people come up to me, and it happens a lot. When people come up to me and talk about Saul, the episode, they will mention you were so into that Cinnabon, the way you so meticulously cut it and ate it. And they're right. I practiced that shit. They're absolutely right. But it got crazy. They brought in 100 Cinnabons a day. Not that I ate 100, but
Right.
they brought in because there's so many that you're just going to waste because of the shot. They have to do different shots, and then the crew would eat them. It was please. The place smelled amazing. The soundstage just reeked of sugar and cinnamon, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
But I did eat a lot of them, and it was Odenkirk. Bob is the one who kind of saved my ass because I'm very much oh, I guess the term, I'm a bit of a people pleaser. I don't like to, I'm not a troublemaker. And even, I'm at a point in my career where I could, say certain things, or like we were saying with the movie Ed, I was just happy they cast me. Like,
Right.
I'll do whatever they want. Well, I've been around a lot of years. I could question certain things if I want to. I could be like, well, I'm not comfortable with this, but I'm not that person in general. I don't like to do that. So I was eating a lot of Cinnabons. And finally, Odenkirk is like, okay, this is too much. I think he's going to get sick. And so thank God he intervened
Yeah.
because then we were coming up with creative ways for me to eat the Cinnabons where I wasn't actually putting them in my mouth. Like I would take a bite, I'd bring it to my mouth, put it to the left of me, and somebody would be behind me. They'd pull it from the fork. Then I'd pull it back like it came from my mouth. So they were coming up with creative ways. And of course, I had a spit bucket. So I was, spitting a lot of it out. But I also ate a lot of it. I ate so much of it that they had a medic on set testing my sugar every day
Holy
just
Lord.
to make sure that and I'm not diabetic. So, but still, they were like, he's eating a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, but it was a great experience. Bob Odenkirk, I had known him in Chicago, not well, but we knew each other. So that was nice. He's just beyond lovely. And Michelle, the director, was awesome. So it was and I got to meet Carol Burnett. So I rack up that week or 10 days, however the hell long I was there, as a big win. That
Yeah.
was because I leave some shows when you're guesting and you're like, well, that was okay. Like, that was a good paycheck, or yeah, if I never did that again, that would be okay. But I left that one like this was all thumbs up.
Right.
Between the cast, the crew was amazing, and the director, that was a big thumbs up. And again, Carol Burnett.
Yeah. Well, Jim, I wanted to respect your time, but I have two more questions. Is it cool or do
It's cool, my
uh
friend. Feel
uh
free.
okay.
And I'm
So
not being sarcastic when I say that because I know
oh
you don't know.
okay. I thought okay, cool. All right. I thought you were being serious. Okay.
I am being serious.
Oh,
Yes, yes,
okay.
yes.
Good. Okay. So first first to last question
Yeah.
on Parks, because you've been guest starring your whole career, and then you get on Parks and now you're like the lead, where like you're the first season you were just kind of there, but then you were like in it all the time,
Series regular. Yeah.
like career changing, so like you're a real inspiration for actors who keep going at it and keep surviving, and then you get that nice where everyone knows you now. So like how did your mind and your anxiety and your life change like that? Like, did you think, holy Lord, this is great? Or did you
Yeah.
think like,
Parks changed everything. But at first, I didn't know what was happening. And
right,
as a matter of fact, when I had initially auditioned for those who know the show, I auditioned for Ron Swanson, which so did everybody else in LA. Like this was a hot project. It was at the time it was called the Untitled Amy Poehler Project. Excuse me.
no worries.
And so uh there was a lot of heat around it. And when I go into an audition like that, I always, because I'm the typical self-deprecating actor and I'm always thinking it'll never happen. I was like, I just want to do a good job because these people are already running The Office, the TV show The Office. I want to be on there. And I thought if I do a good enough job, maybe they'll give me a guest spot on that show, or maybe this new Amy Poehler show. So I went in, auditioned for Ron Swanson, and then 2 weeks later, and I thought it went well. I was very happy. But again, never in a million years thinking they would ever give it to me. So then a couple of weeks later, my agent calls and says they want you to read for this role of Jerry for this same project. And I said, oh, okay. That means they didn't hate me. The other audition must have gone well. So I read for Jerry against, tons of other people. And at the time, they didn't know what Jerry was going to be. You could just tell because in the waiting room was everybody, big guys, small guys, tall guys, people of color, everybody. They obviously didn't know what way they were going to go because they just didn't.
Yeah.
So I go in, I do my thing. It felt good, but what the hell? What does that mean? I've left many auditions going, man, I nailed that, and then you never hear another word. So
Right.
there's so many things that go into who actually ends up getting cast. But so then when I finally get the call that I booked it, my agent said, but we want to be honest with you. We don't know if you should do this. And I said, why? And he said, they were being honest with us, meaning the production, and saying, we don't know what this role is. And Jim's been around a while. At this point, I'd been a very busy guest star actor and, pilots and things like that. But it certainly wasn't a known actor. But people would go, you look so familiar. And I always thought, that's not a bad career. If you end
Right.
up where people go, you look familiar, that means you were out there a lot, and that's okay. That's not the worst thing in the world. But they said that there's a chance you're going to feel like an extra. And because they have 6 main characters and they have to service those characters, which of course they do. But my thought was, these are the same people who produced The Office. And look what happened to the background people on The Office. Kevin and Phyllis and, Meredith and Oscar, Creed. These are characters that have become a big part of that show. So I said without hesitation, I'm in. I'm
Right.
in. The worst thing that happens is I make some money and I sit around a lot. I've done worse things for a buck. And which, don't go down that road. As you know what I had to do for
Yeah.
Norm Macdonald. You know what I've had to do. No, but so to me it was a no-brainer, and it turns out I was right because that's exactly what happened. And Retta, who played Donna Meagle on the show, we were in the same boat. We didn't know what was happening, and Retta was doing stand-up at the time at colleges all over the country, and so we'd be there and we'd be together and hanging in the dressing rooms, like, what's going on? Are we going to be part of this? We knew we wanted to be part of it, but we didn't know what was happening. So season 2, when they made the announcement that we were going to be, I think it was mid-season 2, they made the announcement that we're going to be series regulars. And
Oh,
it is a game changer, Keith. It is a huge, I can't even describe it, because before you have that happen to you, actors, people like me, and I hang with other actors, some of my dearest friends are actors, you have that conversation like, oh man, the dream would be to get on a series that gets 4 or 5 years and it goes into syndication. Like, that's the dream.
right.
And it ended up happening. I ended up getting that. And that is luck. Hopefully I brought something to the table, and added to it. But so many factors just made that happen. Because I always think, like, what if that day when they asked me to do the Jerry role, I had said, no, I don't want to feel like an extra. And I said
Right.
no. And now maybe I would have got something other big, some other big thing. But here's what I'll say about Parks and Rec. There are many, many, many hundreds and hundreds of shows that come and go all the time. Parks has withstood it. It's withstood the test of time. We're still on TV channels. We're
Yeah.
on streaming. We're known all over the world. Nick was telling me he was doing a show in Australia. He sells out in Australia. Like, it's not a normal show. It has
Yeah.
had legs that it's been a gift from the day they called to say the day I accepted that job till today. And then, for this book I have coming out, I talked to the creators, and they're so funny because I'm like, I used to panic about whether you guys would want to keep me around, and they're laughing like, we always knew you were going to be around. And I'm like, well, I didn't know that.
Oh my
I'm just
God.
a pathetic actor hoping to keep a gig,
Yeah.
but anyway, but yeah, it's getting a show like that is a game changer because you're also in people's faces every week for 7 years.
Yeah.
And then it changes the view of casting directors and producers and writers. People write things for me. Like, I just did a film in Barcelona that was written for me. Like, the writer wrote it with me in mind, not even knowing he could get me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it turns out it got to me, and it was a great script, and we shot it in Barcelona. So that would not have happened without Parks and Recreation. It just
Yeah.
wouldn't have. So I'm forever grateful to that show. I call it the gift that keeps on giving.
Oh my God. Well, like, I consider you a friend now, and like, I know this happened, but it just makes me so happy that this happened to you. You know what
Oh,
I
that's
mean?
sweet. Thank
So
you.
like, I'm so like, that's so cool, dude. So like, I'm really rude. I'm like, even though it's already happened, I'm like, yeah,
Oh,
go.
that's really sweet. And here's what I'll also say, and this is what sucks about the acting business. I have friends who are way more talented than I could ever dream of being, but for whatever reason, it didn't happen. It is
Yeah.
very much a crazy business. There's no there's no reasons. Like, nothing makes sense really. So what also makes, and this is to go off on a little bit of a tangent, but something that makes me crazy is when you do get on a show like this, and the difference about Parks compared to a lot of other shows, not every other show, but a lot of other shows, is nobody ever, there were 10 of us at one point, ever took it for granted. We were grateful every day. We laughed every day. We we are, to this day, we have a thing called the Parks family text. We're in each other's lives all the time still.
Oh, that's
This
awesome.
was a special place. But I'm on sets many times, and when I see actors getting like pissy or like this, or bitching about this or that, I'm thinking, do you know how lucky we are to be on this set right now?
Yeah.
Because statistically, only 2% of actors in the SAG union ever work at the same time. 2%, Keith. Think about that number. That's
Yeah.
nothing. So if you're in that 2%, you should be pretty grateful. And I'm not saying you can't have a bad day, and shit does happen, and you get something ticks you off or whatever. But I've known certain actors who are just miserable. And I'm like, you are the luckiest bastard in the whole world. And you're miserable. And that makes me crazy. That just,
Right.
because my family, my friends would tell you, Jim O'Heir is happiest when he's on a set. That's just what I love. And so, and not that I don't have days where I'm a little cranky or whatever, that's called being human. But I can guarantee you 98% of the time, I'm happy I'm there. And you're going to know I'm happy I'm there because I'll have a smile on my face.
Oh my God. And now my last question for you is because, you did a lot of scenes on Parks with my favorite actor, Adam Scott. And I was
Yay!
and I was wondering because Adam's like I've never met him or whatever, but he strikes me as a guy who he doesn't know he's funny. You know what I mean? Like, and I was wondering, do you get that vibe when you work with him because he's so funny?
He's so funny. No, Adam knows he should know he's funny. I think he does. He's very dry. He's super
Okay.
dry. He's a genius with the one-liners. Like you're in a conversation and he'll just throw something in, and it's just hysterical. Uh, and it's weird with Adam and with Rob Lowe because they came in at the end of season 2, and this is not slighting at all Paul Schneider, who was in the beginning of the show. He was there through season 2,
Right.
but in my mind, Adam was always there. I
Yeah.
just feel like, and Rob, they just so quickly gelled and were part of us and laughed with us, not just on camera, but behind the scenes. That I don't know. I feel like they were just always there, but I know they weren't. They missed, I think, 20 something episodes. But no, Adam is super funny. I think he knows he's funny. He's
Okay.
just got this great wit. No, no, no.
Yeah.
He's a smart guy.
Because maybe it's my Asperger's that I can't tell, but I was like, this guy is so funny and he doesn't
He's
know
so
it.
funny. Yes.
Okay.
Well, I mean, and I loved him before he even came to Parks. I loved Party Down.
Oh
So
yeah.
I was
Yeah.
a big fan of his before he walked in the door. And then he'll tell stories because he guested on the podcast, Parks and Recollection. And he was telling us, he was nervous. He was a big fan of the show before he got it. And
Yeah.
he had initially auditioned for it and didn't get it. And then they brought him in, to play Ben, the character they ended up paying. But it was he's a super funny, and he's also so sweet, and he's got this wonderful wife and these 2 kids, and he's good people, as we say in the Midwest. He's just good people.
Oh, that's so awesome because when you hear stuff, about your heroes, you always
Yeah,
want to hear
no,
the
no,
good
no.
stuff.
Sometimes you want to meet your heroes. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes,
Awesome.
yes.
Well, Jim, I want to respect your time. Where can the folks at home follow and support you at?
Oh my gosh. I'm on the Facebook, Jim O'Heir, and I'm on Instagram, the real Jim O'Heir, because a bunch of people have bullshit ones that they say are me, but they're not. There's Parks and Recollection, my podcast that I do, and we're about to start season 6, and we just recap with I do it with Greg Levine, one of the writers on Parks, and we have everybody's guested. Like I said, Adam Scott was there, Rashida recently, and Retta, Chris Pratt, everybody's been on.
That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, and then my book is coming out in November. It's called Welcome to Pawnee: Stories of Friendship, Waffles, and Parks and Recreation. And it's basically my love letter to the show because it was a gift that I mentioned earlier. And it's full of, behind the scenes stories. I think that you kids call it BTS, a lot of BTS and pictures that people have never seen and stuff like that. And so that comes out in November. So
Well,
actually next week I have to record for 4 days. I will be in the studio recording the audio book. And I've done a lot of voiceover work. I'm doing a new project with Aubrey right now, Aubrey Plaza. But I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about that. So I'll
yeah.
just say I'm doing a project with Aubrey.
We'll have you
But
back.
yeah, have him back when it comes out.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's been announced. I just don't know. But anyway, so always something going on. Like I said, I'm Parks changed it all. And so now it seems like always something. I'm shooting a pilot in September. Yeah, so a lot of stuff going on. Yeah, it's good. But I'm a little nervous about this audio book because as much as I've done a million voiceover recordings, you go in, you do a character, you're out in an hour or two.
Right.
This is going to be 4 days of 8 hours a day of me reading my book,
Right.
which is really intense. That'll be interesting because
Yeah.
I'm so sick of myself. I'm so sick of this, because it's all about me in this book because it's my book. And I'm like, oh, I'm so sick of me. I'm just so sick of me right now. But
Oh,
I'll do it.
can I give you a little advice? Because Norm had
I'll
this
take it.
exact same problem when he did his audio. And my advice would be the same to you is people love you already. So just read it as yourself.
Just read it. Yeah. Don't try to, no
Yeah.
affectations or anything. Yeah. That makes
Yeah.
sense.
So, because
That
they're
makes
buying the
sense.
book for you and they're
Yeah.
already on your side.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah. Yeah.
so
How
yeah.
many have you pre-ordered, Keith? I meant to ask you.
How many did I pre-order
Yeah.
of
Because
the book?
did you go to Barnes and Noble or Amazon or Books a Million and pre-order?
Oh, for your book?
Yes. I assumed
Oh,
you got 20, 25 of them.
I will definitely. I didn't even. I was gonna say in November I'm gonna buy it, and
There you go.
I'm hoping you do a meet or greet. So at
I
the
there'll be a lot of those. I actually just had to sign over 3,000 signatures
oh my god,
for blank on these pages that they will be putting into the books for Barnes and Noble and Books a Million. I had no idea that was a thing. And they said to me, we're sending you, it's over 3,000. It took weeks because I also, do other stuff. I can't just sit and sign my name. Yeah, it was crazy.
but
Crazy, crazy, crazy.
I will buy one, and if you're ever at the Grove, I'll support you.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Jim. Well, have a great day, and thank you so much for letting me interview you.
You too, Keith. This was fun. And remember, Ed, everybody go see it. The greatest movie ever produced. Take care, buddy.
All right, bye, Jim.
Bye.
All right, guys, that was the episode. Subscribe, rate, review with Jim O'Hara, and we'll see you guys next week.